Well, Garbanzo Beans, we're fucking back. It's UFC 325. Didn't we just do 324? Yes, I'm okay with that. And that's it, ladies and guys. Welcome to the DynamiteGizmo podcast, everybody. Episode 285. 285. And we're going to talk about all things and everything UFC 325. 325 related. There's news and notes and main fighters and fights to look out for. We're going to go over it all. And at the very end of the episode, I'm going to go through my fight predictions. And if we take a look at the screen right now, this is the... I can't remember my slogan, dude. What the fuck? This is the fight prediction sheet. It's tradition around here to show you the... Oh, this is my card. It's tradition around here to show you the card, but it's not tradition to show you what's on the card, but you'll find out anyway because we'll talk about it. I updated my... Hold on, let's turn this music down. I updated my intro slogan there, and I forgot what I updated it to, but that's okay. So this is the fight card of this weekend, UFC 325. I create these fight prediction sheets for every numbered event, for every fight night. Well, I guess that's all we... Fight nights and numbered events. I create these sheets, and I make these sheets available for free for any motherfucker on the planet. The link is in the description. Click the link, or it's in my bio. Go download it and print off as many copies as you want for you and your friends. Let's take a quick zoom in on this sheet and see what we got working in here. We'll go up to the number 12th fight on the main card. Okay? So as you can see, each fight is listed in a nice little package square here. You've got the weight class, you got their last names, you got their fight records, you got their Vegas betting odds, you got their nicknames, you got pictures of the fighters, you got their country of origin flag, you've got their rankings up here. Before the night gets started, you're going to go through every one of these blocks, okay? And you're going to check off pick for the fighter you think is going to win. You're going to do that for every single one of these blocks. And then as the fights play out, whoever actually won the fight, you check off the win box, okay? And then at the very, very end of the night, you tally up your score down here and see how you did. You can also rate the card overall out of a 5-star ranking, and did it meet your expectations? Did it go beyond or exceed, or did it miss, or did it flop? Check off one of those boxes. Also along the right-hand column, we've got little facts and information about specific fighters or fights throughout the night. We also have listed the arena and the country/city in which the card will take place. There's the date and the poster over here, okay? Everything you need to know about the fights that take place throughout the night is available on this sheet. There is also little note columns underneath each prelims, early prelims, and main card section. Also some blank spots off to the side. Plenty of room for notes. Okay? These are great for you and your friends and your family. If you want to keep track of fights throughout the night, you want to make up little games, you want to make little bets, okay? Even if you're not familiar with the UFC, these sheets can be used to your advantage, okay? So go ahead and click the link in the description and get yourself your free UFC fight prediction sheet. And we're going to get right into the fucking stuff here, okay? This is our second numbered event, back-to-back. When has this ever happened? I don't know. Maybe not ever. I can't recall. But last weekend we had UFC 324, and it was Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim title. And I had predicted that Paddy Pimblett would take the W. I thought Patricia would win by submission. The motherfucker didn't even really go for a takedown. Okay? And Gaethje took the win. So what's going to happen now? The Paddy Pimblett train has derailed. And it was all going to be relative towards making Paddy into a superstar, wasn't it? But let's see what happens now. I'm going to be making my White House card predictions maybe this week, maybe early next week. I have the majority of them lined up of who I think should be on the card, not necessarily who. Sorry, I haven't decided how I want to do it. If I want to predict who I think the UFC will put on the card or who I think I should be on the card. Maybe I'll do both. Because there's a difference between thinking what the UFC is going to put on there and putting what you would like to see on there and what should be on there. Right? So I might do two separate editions, two separate copies. I don't know. We'll see. I think I'll just do what I think the UFC is going to do. That would make the most sense. So basically, White House predictions in the flesh. Not necessarily what I want. Yeah, and so this episode we're going to go over Alexander Volkanovski, we're going to go over Diego Lopes, we're going to touch on Benoît Saint-Denis and Dan Hooker. Okay, we're going to go over some news that's relative to the UFC. Because we've had these back-to-back events, there's kind of been shit crammed into each other. You know, usually after a numbered event, you got some time to relax and filter in the news that's coming in. But because these were back-to-back, we're just jam-packed with main event stuff, title stuff. So there is a little bit of news, but nothing too crazy going on. Okay, and like I said, at the very end of the episode, we are going to go over my fight predictions. Okay, and we're going to do them live. Normally, I pick my predictions filming the episode so I can rifle through them quick. But we're going to go through them live and figure them out together and see what I choose. All right? Which will probably make the episode a little bit longer, but who gives a god diggity damn? Am I right? Who gives a god diggity damn Dugan? Okay? So let's start off today's episode by talking about the man who currently owns the featherweight title. Once again, Mr. Alexander Volkanovski. Let me just adjust some settings here. Alexander Volkanovski. Okay, whoops. Let's get right into it, shall we? Hold on, I need a beverage again. Don't mind me. And I think I might do another standing solo. Ooh, that's what I need to touch on. The standing solo live stream watch party was going good last weekend. But in the middle of it, I got interrupted and I got invited out to watch it somewhere else. So I said, fuck this. I'm cutting her short, and I'm peacing. So I might do it again this weekend. I want to. So we'll ba 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 ba. I'll probably do it again this weekend. Anyway. Alexander the Great Volkanovski. They don't call him the Great for no reason. We have to talk about Volk first. And before we get into the nitty-gritty of the situation, let's talk about his career as a mixed martial artist. Before entering the UFC, Volk had a professional record of 13-1-0. He held and defended titles in Rochambeau, PXC, AFC, and WW, Wollongong, or something. Yes, Wollongong Wars, that's it. After winning the Wollongong Wars title, he was signed to the UFC in 2016. From there, he went on a 12-fight win streak that lasted from 2016 all the way until 2023. And during that run, he claimed the featherweight title and went on a 4-fight title defense streak. And in December of 2019, he fought Max Holloway for the featherweight title and won. He then rematched Max for his first title defense in July and once again defeated him. He followed that up by defending the belt a second time. He followed that up by defending the belt a second time against Brian Ortega, a third time against the Korean Zombie, and a fourth time against Max Holloway once again. Now at this point, Volk was on top of the world. UFC fans were calling him one of the greatest of all time. He was unstoppable. And because of that dominance, it gave him the opportunity to move up a weight class and face the other man many people consider the GOAT of the sport, Islam Makhachev. That fight went the full 5 rounds. It was incredibly close. There were multiple moments where it looked like Volk could have taken the win, but in the end, Islam won by unanimous decision. So Volk dropped back down to featherweight to unify the interim title against Yair Rodriguez. And sure enough, Volk reclaimed the featherweight title in July of 2023. Now we're going to fast forward to October of 2023. Islam was scheduled to defend the lightweight title against Charles Oliveira. But Charles suffered a bad cut in training, and the fight was canceled at the very last minute. So instead of scrapping the fight altogether, Volk stepped up on just 10 days' notice. And that was not the smartest move on his part. He lost in round 1 due to a head kick followed by a couple ground and pound pooches. Volk didn't vacate the featherweight title, although, when he moved up that second time. So he once again came back down, but this time there was no unification, just a title defense. And it wasn't an easy one. It was a massive contender, someone who has since become known as one of the other greats of the sport. And that man is Ilia Topuria. This was the moment Ilia claimed the featherweight title by knocking out Volk in round 2 with a right hook. Which brings us to April of last year. After Ilia defended the title once against Max, he vacated the belt and moved up to lightweight, where he has since claimed that title as well. That opened the door once again for Volk, this time against Diego Lopes. And Volk delivered, defeating Diego Lopes by unanimous decision at UFC 314. Now here we are. Once again, the rematch against Diego Lopes, Volk's second title defense after reclaiming the belt. Volk's record sits at 27-4-0. One of those losses came very early in his MMA career, and 2 came to Islam, and 1 came against Ilia Topuria. If you're a newer fan, you might not even know all of that. I'm getting a spam call. Sorry, I don't take spam, my friend. I only eat spam. If you're a newer fan, you might not even know all of that. Some people may only know him from Cooking with Volk, his cooking YouTube channel. But make no mistake, the man is unbelievably good. Great, even. The great. But here's the thing. He's nearing the end of his career. An MMA's fighter, an MMA's fighter's reign does not last long. Volk is 37 years of age. He's already beaten Lopes once, and every single featherweight fight he's had, aside from Ilia, he has won. If he beats Lopes a second time, surely he won't retire. He's even said himself that he doesn't want to retire. I have the video here.
You're retired.
Hey. And we're going to watch it together. Okay?
Your status as an active fighter. And it seems like everyone's weighing in. And I have to be honest, I'm trying to figure out where it all started. I've seen Tom Aspinall say he thinks you should retire if all goes well. I've seen Lerone say he thinks you'll never fight him, not because you don't want to, but because you're going to retire. It seems like everyone has kind of dubbed this a retirement fight, except for you. And I don't really know how it originated this way. And so could you tell us, very matter-of-factly, is this a retirement fight for you? Are you going to be done after this fight?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from exactly. Obviously, I guess whether people are just going off what I say, like I'm like, how many more do I have? If I was to get beaten up, am I gonna come back to fight? No, you know what I mean. But that's not my plans, unless something things go horrendously wrong. I'm planning on going back out there. Whether the next one, taking on an undefeated fighter in the UFC or something like that. I mean, that's appealing. Maybe that could be one that I finish up on. But right now, I plan on everything going well, getting my hand raised, hopefully taking minimal damage so I can have a quick turnaround and still fighting. So the plan is definitely to retire, you know what I mean? So that's, I don't know where that comes from.
Okay.
There was a talk straight after my last fight. I'm like, how many more? You never know. There were talks like that. But as soon as I started training, I was like, let's keep going.
Your retirement.
So the brother doesn't want to retire, okay? He made it very friggin' clear. Very friggin' clear. Okay? And really, look at what we just saw this past weekend at UFC 324. Justin Gaethje is the same age as Volk, and he just put on a clinical performance against Paddy, winning the interim title. So the real question is, what if Volk loses? He said he's not ready to retire yet, but come on. Look at the lifestyle. He's not nearly as active as he once was. He spends a lot more time cooking and relaxing. He looks like someone who's already living the retired life, as far as I can tell. So if he loses, I don't think he announces retirement on the spot, but I could absolutely see him going inactive, taking time away, and then eventually announcing it. Because what's the alternative? Does he keep fighting top-ranked contenders and risk going on a losing streak before retirement? Or worse, keep winning and then what, fight for the title again? I mean, sure, that could happen. And what if it does? What if Volk wins this weekend and goes on another featherweight title run streak? But this time, stays at featherweight, stays active, keeps proving everyone wrong. He's already one of, if not the greatest featherweight of all time, but that would push him beyond the limits. He wouldn't just be the best. He'd be a superhero in the division. So let me ask you, at 37 years old, would you rather see Volk retire on top? Or keep fighting as long as he's winning? All right? And Mr. Volk himself... Oh, pause. Mr. Volkanovski himself, can I zoom in here so we don't see the things that I want people to see? Yeah! So Mr. Volkanovski himself, along with the other folks on UFC 325, have attended the pre-fight media day press conference. And they asked him an interesting question. They asked him an interesting question about Arman Sarukruk. And he had some things to say. So why don't we take a listen?
I love challenges. He would obviously be a tough challenge. If he could get down there, that would be definitely a tough challenge. Same with Movsar. Obviously, Movsar, good. Like, even the wrestling side of things, like, I'd love that. Because for the legacy, you can talk about legacy. You've got guys like Movsar, undefeated. So later, obviously, I've got a job to do this weekend. But whatever comes my way, I'll be happy. But Movsar, Lerone, incredible records. Or even Armin, if he was to come down, that's a challenge. So that'll be definitely something. And I feel like my takedown defense is pretty solid. So that'll definitely be a fun one. Yeah, I mean,
Okay, so he's thinking, the motherfucker's thinking about potentially fighting Armin at 145. I think that would be fantastic. Okay, do you think Armin's willing to go to 145? I don't know, dude. I don't freaking know. You tell me. And he mentioned Movsar and Lerone Murphy, which we will talk about. I've got more news on those motherfuckers at the end of this episode. But we're not going to touch on that right now. Because right now, we got to go on to Diego Lopes, the other contender in this main event title fight. Oh, yeah, baby. So let's move on to the second segment of the day, Diego Lopes. The thing we have to consider here is the fact that Diego Lopes has already fought Volkanovski once for DAS title. And honestly, there really isn't much of a reason for Diego to be getting the second shot at this title. We all know that if anyone truly deserves the opportunity, it's Movsar Evloev or Lerone Murphy. That's not new information, but regardless, this is what we got. So the question becomes, why are they trying to get Diego in there so badly? Now, this is complete speculation on my part, but could it be that Dana really wants a Mexican fighter holding the belt in order to headline UFC Noche once it rolls around? I mean, Diego Lopes is the closest thing they have to a Mexican fighter who can realistically claim the title right now. I mean, they already had Diego headlining Noche last year against John Silva, so imagine how much bigger that card becomes if Diego walks in as the champion. Diego has only been in the UFC for about 3 years and is already fighting for the title for the second time in just 9 months. He's had 8 fights in the UFC. He's won 6 and lost 2. One loss came to Volkanovski, and the other came in his UFC debut against none other than, guess who? Movsar Evloev. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Diego Lopes. And at the end of 2024, I actually had Diego pegged as my predicted featherweight champion for 2025. And little did I know at that time, he'd end up fighting Volk for the vacant title, let alone running it back again the following year. Diego absolutely has a real shot at winning this fight. The first time they fought, it went the full 5 rounds, and there were moments where it really felt like the momentum could swing Diego's way. But it never quite did. And that brings us to something we have to talk about with Volkanovski. Look at his history with Max Holloway. The first time they fought, it felt like Max had moments where things could have gone his way, especially with Volk not having the experience with Max yet. The second fight, even though it was a split decision, Volk looked far more comfortable getting the job done. And by the third fight, Volk had him figured out completely. There wasn't much Max could do at that point. That's what separates Volk from so many fighters, and that's what makes him so unbelievably good. His fight IQ is insane, especially when it comes to rematches. Volk takes every single thing he learned from the previous fight and studies it relentlessly. So Diego doesn't just have to learn from his mistakes the first time they fought. He also has to understand that Volk is going to come into this fight sharp as a motherfucking tack. And realistically, Diego has way more to lose here. If Volk loses, he's already at the tail end of his career. But Diego? He's still early in his UFC run. If he loses this fight, he's going to have to backtrack for a while before even sniffing another title shot. Especially with guys like Movsar and Lerone right around the corner, ready to take that opportunity and get that belt. What really put Diego Lopes on my radar was back in 2024 at UFC 303. Do you remember? If you don't, well, I'm about to tell you. This was right after UFC 300, one of the biggest events of the year, if not in the past decade. And 2 other major cards had preceded that. And originally, UFC 303 was supposed to be headlined by McGregor versus Chandler. Okay? But we all know how that turned out. So the card felt like a bit of a downer at first, but Alex Pereira stepped up once again to save the main event. And Diego Lopes was on that card fighting in the co-main event. And just 4 hours before he and Brian Ortega were supposed to step into the octagon, Ortega came down with an illness. Hold on, my neck is fucking killing me. There we go. So instead of canceling the fight entirely, Dan Ige stepped up at the absolute last minute. Both fighters weighed in at a catch weight of 165 pounds. The fight went the distance, and Dan Ige fought an incredible fight considering he had zero preparation. He actually said that he was getting a massage on a massage table when he got the text 4 hours before the event. But in the end, it was Diego Lopes who came out on top with a unanimous decision win. And that win led him to one more fight before finally getting his first title shot against Volkanovski. And here we are. He has since fought Jean Silva last year in September on UFC Noche, and he kicked the absolute living shit out of Jean Silva, made his entire head look like a balloon that had been punctured and punched and slapped and fucked. Why don't we take a look at Jean Silva's head in the aftermath? Jean Silva after fighting Diego Lopes. Okay? Ooh, it looks like the UFC put up that fight on the all internet. I might have to watch that one. Okay, let me see if I can find the image here. Isn't it nice when you try to Google an image for the UFC and you just can't find it on the old Google machine? God, I can't. There was one good image and I can't find it now. Great. Oh, say, can you see? Why is it always on Facebook? Facebook, dude. Facebook's one of the worst platforms on the planet. And it's taking forever to load. Okay, this doesn't really this doesn't show it very well, but you can kind of see what happened here. His face got maniacally mangled. All right. Felt like I had some more. Is that it? Oh, actually, here's something. Diego Lopes, as we know, Benoît Saint-Denis is on the card as well. Diego Lopes interacted with Benoît Saint-Denis himself. Hey. And they had a little chit-chat. They had a little exchange. I'm assuming it's in English. I don't even know if I watched this. Let's watch it together. Okay, we don't need that. Go away, my friend.
Yeah,
Long jet lag, no?
yeah. The same for you too?
I came a bit later than you, but I had less, like, how many hours?
Oh, for me it's like 70 hours straight. Yeah. 10 hours now, yeah.
So 10 days before I came.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm still here for January.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, thank you.
We open for...
Yeah,
For
sure.
sure.
Yeah, the guys good. Okay.
Yeah, so for you, I think we will be...
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
which one was the best we practicing?
for you too. Thank you. Yeah.
Can't really tell what they're saying, but it's basically like, I'm excited, good luck, bop, 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 okay? Even Dan Hooker, who initially came out the barrel guns a-blazing against BSD, is saying he likes him now. He's got nothing bad to say about him. He's just a good motherfucker. All right? And speaking of Dan Hookums and BSD, we're gonna talk about those guys right now in the third segment of the evening. We're 31 minutes in, folks. Let me have a little sip of some sloop. I'm coming up. I wanna know. Was that song playing? Like, why is that stuck in my head? Anyway, let's get into Dan Hooker and Benoît Saint-Denis, shall we? Yeah. I know, okay? I know what you're thinking. Dan, look, Dan is fucking awesome, okay? Of course he's one of my favorites. Of course. But guess what? The man is 35 years old. He's heading towards the tail end of his career, and at this point, there's just no way I see him getting a title shot. And even if he does, he's not winning the belt. We've seen this story many times, and this is exactly what I said when he was going into the Arman fight. There are fighters who reach a certain point in their careers where they become something else entirely. Not champions, but still incredibly valuable. The fun-to-watch fighter, or what some people like to call the gatekeeper. Dan will always be exciting. Guys rising through the ranks will still have to go through him to get to the top, but realistically, Dan's chances at getting the UFC title are gone. He can't compete with the elite level grappling anymore. Sure, he can box like a motherfucker, but the lightweights right now, if they need to, they can submit him in an absolute instant. Very similar to the trajectory that Donald Cerrone had faced at the tail end of his career. Dan will continue to get fun, exciting matchups. Fans will always root for him, and every time he fights, we will expect a war. But the days of hoping for a title run, those are long gone. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? We still need fighters like this, guys who show up no matter what, guys who stop others from achieving their dreams. As Dan so perfectly put, how Dan so perfectly put it after losing to Arman back in November. Jesus Christ, could I have said that any worse? He wants to crush people's dreams, my guy. He wants to crush people's dreams. Listen to this audio, okay? He's a dream crusher. I'm coming up.
Dan, your future goals.
Well, you've got to face the cold hard truth, so you're probably never going to get hands on a title, but I'm going to hang around as long as I possibly can and ruin as many people's hopes and dreams as I can, because if I can't have nice things, no one can.
Yeah, if I can't have
Cheers
nice
to that.
things, nobody can, Dan. Dan's the man. Dan's the man, dude. And this weekend, he faces Benoît Saint-Denis. And honestly, fucking great matchup, dude. Bang-a-rang. It's coming pretty quickly after Dan's loss to Armin back in November as well. But I like it. And I like BSD. I like Benoît Saint-Denis. I definitely don't want to see his momentum completely stalled by Dan, especially after coming off his own losing stretch in 2024. But that's the game, my friend. That's how it plays out sometimes. And at the end of the day, this is a matchup between two of my favorite fighters and just seeing who can prevail. Now, even though Benoît has knockouts on his record, Dan actually brought up a good freaking point. He's not really known for knockouts, which again doesn't exactly bode well for Dan. But Dan did have this to say when asked about Benoît Saint-Denis earlier this week when he was doing some training at, I don't know, some sort of facility. Maybe it's his own, maybe it's someone's else. Someone else's.
Do you have anything to say to Benoit, knowing that he's also looking for knockouts?
Who the f*** has he ever knocked out? Dariush. So he gets one knockout, now he's a knockout artist. I'm a swing pig. I'm going to look for the finish. I don't care if I get hurt. You will have your pound of flesh, fans.
Do you have anything to
I love the way fucking Dan Hooker talks. You will have your pound of flesh, friends. I'm a swing pig. You will have your pound of flesh, friends. And just like... My goodness. And just like I said earlier, Dan is going to go out there and put on a glorious performance. You know he's going to. But that is unless Benoît Saint-Denis takes him to the ground, which very well could happen. Why would BSD stand with Dan? That would be crazy talk. But we did see it with Paddy, and we did see it with Beneil Dariush. And look how that turned out. BSD knocked out Beneil Dariush in 16 seconds in the first round at the end of 2025. But is that going to happen against Dan Hooker? I really don't think so. How do you even figure out someone's game plan before the fight happens? You don't. At least I don't. Because how many of you thought Paddy was going to try to take down Gaethje? I know I did. And I think he maybe got 1 or 2 takedowns, maybe 3. But they were stuffed almost immediately. So logically, you'd think the smart move for BSD would be to take Hangman down. I mean, that's exactly what Armin did. And you know what? To be completely frank and beans with buttered bread, I actually don't want Dan to win. As much as I hate to say it, but yeah, I said it. Let Benoît Saint-Denis win. Let him get past the gatekeeper. Let him keep pushing forward towards the title. Because let's be real. Ilia or Armin is getting that belt at some point. And neither Dan nor BSD is getting through either of them. So fuck it. Who cares? Let this fight be an absolute battle. Something BSD can look back on. Something pulled straight from his time in the French Special Forces. We love Dan. You know we love Dan, but he's getting closer and closer to hanging up the gloves. Okay? And you know he wants to. You know he's getting to that point. He even talks about retirement himself and what he's going to do, which I have a clip here.
Biggest goal besides winning a title? Probably, yeah, like, once I finish this stupid career, I'd actually like to make some money. It would be cool, like, like, get into business and investment when I actually have time and I'm not distracted by this fucking god-awful sport.
You've not made any money yet?
Huh?
You've made a couple of bucks, haven't you?
Yeah, but you're not going to make as much money as... Had I invested all of that time into creating a business or focusing on investments, I would be far richer and less fucking brain damaged than... Biggest goal besides.
Whoa. Okay? Listen to how he's talking. Listen to how the motherfucker talks. Whoa, was that it? That's all we got. Dude, I got no questions or nothing. Holy fuck, I thought I had more. That's all I got. So I guess I'll just ask you this then. For this matchup, I know you like both Benoît Saint-Denis and Dan Hooker. Okay, how could you not like both these guys? Maybe some of you don't. I don't know. People are strange. But I don't care about who you think is going to win. Who do you want to win? Who do you genuinely want to win? Just really think about it. Do you want Dan to win? I know we love Dan, but do you want Dan to win? Or do you not give a fuck about Benoît Saint-Denis and you're like, fuck him? Maybe you still think Dan can get a shot at that title. I don't know. I need to know what you think. I don't care if you disagree with me. If you do, let me know in the comments what you think's going to happen. All right? Now, I had mentioned we were going to talk about some other news some other news to go through, which I do have some other little news clippets here. Okay? So before we get into Lerone Murphy and Movsar, I want to talk about, well, quickly, let me just show you a little fun clip of Islam. Islam's a fun boy, okay? I don't know if you guys saw this that happened the other day, but he was at a robot barista ordering himself a matcha from the robot. And let's just see what he thought about this device and the overall service.
Skoro profesija baristy. Onda ću kako bude za drajga. Kako je drajga?
He liked it. I think he liked it. He liked it a lot. How bad? Do you think he actually hated it, or is he just against that sort of thing? I think he didn't like it. But I've never dumped a full beverage right into the recycling before. He should have found a plant to pour it in, maybe, or a sink. I don't know. But that's old Izzy, not Israel. Islam. You could call Islam Izzy. Isn't that fun? Okay, there's some other. Okay, so there's been some fight news. There's been some fight rumors. Okay, but it would seem. All right, now I don't know if you guys follow specific people online who like to make fight announcements before they happen. There's a few people who are good at that, like Crazy Kev and Big Marcel. Those guys are great at it. Okay? Then there's guys who are not so good and sometimes unreliable. But a good chunk of time they actually get it right, and some of them are on a good little streak of predicting things in the right direction. But you still can't take these people fully seriously. You have to go with a grain of salt. And specifically who I'm talking about is a man by the name of Rubin Carter. Okay? I trust him, but I don't. And a lot of times he's been right lately. And so he came up with this tweet. Let me just zoom in here so we can get a full blast of this. He came up with this tweet here, and he said, fights that are close to being signed for UFC 327 in Miami, Florida. Now, we all know that the Miami cards every year, they're always in April, are always fucking bangers. All right? I think 314 was last year, and that was Diego Lopes and Volkanovski for that vacant title. And fucking Bryce Mitchell was on there against John Silva. And Patty was fighting Chandler. There was lots of good fights. It was one of my favorite cards of the year. But this year, 327 is back in Miami, And according to Ruben, we might be getting Yuri Prohaska versus Carlos Ulberg, which, by the way, we still don't know if it's a vacant title yet. Okay? Dricus du Plessis versus Brendan Allen, JDM versus Carlos Prates, and Bryce Mitchell again, but this time against Alexandra Topuria. Okay? If that's true, which I could definitely see that being the case, that is a fucking sick card. Again, Miami knocks it out of the fucking park. That is a contender for card of the year. Absolutely. Okay? And Bryce Mitchell actually did fight Ilia Topuria before. And Bryce Mitchell has a lot of beef with Ilia Topuria right now because Ilya's going through that court battle, and it kind of came out that there's rumors that he may have been abusing his wife. Now, we don't know if that's true or not, but Bryce Mitchell just assumes it's true and has called Ilia out for it and said, "I will fight you and I will fight your brother." So we might see it, Bryce Mitchell fight fucking Ilia Topuria's little brother, who, by the way, is on a crazy run as well, just like his brother. They keep feeding Bryce Mitchell. They keep feeding Bryce Mitchell all the fights that people want to see Bryce Mitchell get his ass kicked in. It's crazy. I don't know if Bryce will win. But fuck me, I would love to see it. And if that's the card, god damn. Now, one fight that I do know is approved for this card because it was announced by the man himself who's going to be on the card is, let me just zoom in here. Here it is here. So we've got Cub Swanson versus Nate Landwehr. Okay, this is for sure going to be on UFC 327. Cub Swanson came out and told us himself that this is going to be the case. Now, is it just me, or like, I feel like I'm having a, what do you call those? A Mandela effect moment on Cub Swanson. I could have sworn that the last time Cub Swanson fought, he retired. Like, I have the vision in my head, like he threw his gloves down. I thought he did. The last time he fought, wow, December of 2024. Yeah, that was on the Covington Buckley card. What? I don't even remember him being on that card. But fuck, I thought he put down the gloves. But he didn't. Wow, he's been in it since 2011. But yeah, but I guess not. Well, he did win that fight too. That's right. Okay, I think it's coming back to me now. But I shit you not, I swear he retired, but I guess he didn't. But what's his name was calling him out. Can't remember his name. Anyway. So Cub Swanson's coming back. And then, finally, the big fucking news related to the featherweights. Again, I don't know if this is confirmed, but I've been seeing people online showing from different ticket websites that the tickets for these events are available. Nothing has been announced up to this point yet. You know, something might have happened while I was filming this podcast. I don't know. But apparently, we might get Evloev versus Murphy on the March 21st Fight Night London, England card. I don't know if it's for sure yet, but that's what the rumors are. And, like, I don't like to post rumor fights because fights gets rumored all the time, and then, you know, until it's actually official, I don't like to. But the fact that we saw the tickets available on ticket websites kind of just proves it. And we all knew that fight was going to happen anyway. Okay, but that is for sure the title eliminator fight. Whoever wins that is going to fight for the title. And I think that's actually a fucking banger of a fight. A fucking banger. And I swear to God, if Evloev backs out of this, get him the fuck out of here, dude. That guy backs out of fights like crazy. But anyway, we're going to go through my fight predictions right now, from the early prelims all the way up to the main event. And we're going to do it live because I am not familiar with the first 4 fights of the night at all, because they are road to UFC tournament finals. Okay, the winner of each of these fights get a multi-fight contract. All right. And if I'm not mistaken, Sal Killed and Malarkey are on this as well, and apparently that one is a road to the UFC tournament final as well. No, it can't be. I don't know. Anyway, so let's get into my fight predictions now. Okay, I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna pull up Tapology here. We'll do UFC 325 Tapology. So that way, you know, we can do our things. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the first 4 fights of the night are the road to the UFC tournament finals. All right. So let me just open up some shiitake mushrooms here. Okay. So this is the first fight of the night. We got a man by the name of Tao against Bat Bayar. All right. Bat Bayar is the favorite. He's 9-1. Tao is 11-1. This guy's from who knows where. This guy's from New Zealand, and he's got that tribal face tattoo. We're seeing a lot more of these in the sport nowadays. So let me put it in the correct order. So okay, we'll do Bat Bayar first. Let's see what his record's looking like here. How old is this motherfucker? He's 25, so he's young. He's a submission guy. Looks like majority of his wins are by submission. There's nothing really to go off here. It's all these guys' debut into the UFC. So, see, this guy's 32. Bat Bayar's how old again? 25? Yeah, so he's younger. This Tao guy, again, I don't know how to say his names. Okay, he's a knockout boy. 7 of his wins are by knockouts. Looks like he's had a title in XFC and went on a 2-fight win streak, because he had 2 separate titles. So this was the vacant bantam, and then that was the feather. So he's had the feather and the bantam. But he defended the bantam 3 times and just won the feather. He's also had an amateur title. Wow. So this guy's pretty decent, dude. Okay, he went on the Contender Series and lost against Elijah Smith. Wow. And we've seen Elijah Smith, right? Yeah, Elijah's doing good. Okay. So there's a good chance that this Tao guy could take the win here against Bat Bayar. So I think I'm going to go with Tao. Again, we're not familiar with these guys at all because it's their debut. So let's go ahead and give it to Tao. He is the underdog as well. So there we go. I don't like going for favorites all the time. So here we go. So now we've got Sulang Grangbo versus Liu. So Sulang is the favorite here. He's 10-3-0. Liu is 7-1. Okay, we got a guy from New Zealand and a guy from China. All right, let's take a look at their credentials. I'm going to pull up their tapologies. And yeah, each of these first 4 events, again, are road to the UFC bouts, which I think is super exciting and super cool. And they're each different weight class, okay? Obviously. Well, maybe that wasn't obvious. I wanted to make that clear. So this guy, again, Chinese guys, sometimes they only have just one name. Sulang Grangbo. Well, here it says 10-3. Is that what it says on my sheet? Oh, yeah. Okay. 10-3. Let's take a look here. How old is he? He's 20. Oh, my God. Real young. This guy's really young. Okay. So he started off his career with a few losses. Okay, then went on a nice win streak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fight win streak. Okay, he won both Road to UFC tournaments, and now this is the final one here. Okay, this guy's looking good, and he's super young. I like this. Let's see here. He's also a knockout boy. 60% of his wins by knockout. Let's look at Lawrence Liu. How old is he again? He's 29. It's okay. So he's got 9 years on the motherfucker. He's had some amateur fights. Got into his pro career. Won, let's see, there was a bantamweight championship that he won in Shuriken Fight Series. Really, his only loss is to this guy. It was a split decision loss, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 fight win streak. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to go for Sulang Grangbo here. He's looking better, okay? I like the way he looks. I like the way he smells. He is the favorite. So we'll give it to the China boy. Is that racist? I hope not. Okay, next up we have Nakamura versus Slaya. Really? His name's Slaya? Okay, Slaya's the favorite and he's 10-1. Nakamura is 7-1. And he's from Japan. So Japan versus Australia here. All right, let's take a look at the gentleman's credential. I kind of like doing the predictions live like this. We get to run through it together, see what we think. All right, let's go this way. Okay, so Nakamura, he's 7-1 from Japan. He's 27 years old. Looks like he only wins by either knockout or one decision, so he's a knockout boy. All right, he's had some amateur bouts. He won a, what is that, a belt? No, a tournament championship at amateur. Okay, I'm going to sneeze, but it's not going to come. I can feel it. Okay, so he won his debut pro fight. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Went on a 7-fight win streak. Okay, not too shabby. Now, normally when you make these predictions, you're not basing it off guys who've never fought in the UFC. Usually, they've had 1 or 2. Sometimes it's debuts, but this is different. Okay, so this guy's a decision winner, which is crazy. Let me see here. I'm getting texts. So that guy's a decision winner, and he is the favorite going into this, which is interesting. Okay, and how old is he? He's 31. How old is Nakamura? 27. Okay, they're relatively close. Okay. He's also only had 1 loss in his pro record. And he currently is on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fight win streak. And he has won a title in Eternal MMA. Ooh, I've heard about that before. I think that's a good promotion, isn't it? He won and defended it once, and then immediately got into the road to UFC. I guess I could kind of see why he would be the favorite. But this guy only wins by knockouts. And there was a referee stoppage. Wow. Huh. So his most recent fight was his only decision win. I kind of want to go for Nakamura. Even though I can see why. Slaya. The other thing you got to consider too is they are fighting in Australia. Okay? So Australians are going to put out more, but fuck, dude. I kind of want to go for Nakamura. I think I'm going to do it. Let's knack it up, dude. All right. Next up, we got Frogman versus Street Buddha. Kim versus Marfan. Okay, the Frogman is 13-3-0. Marfan is 8-2-0, and he's the favorite, and he's from Australia. The Frogman is from South Korea. All right, let's look at their credential and see what we got going on here. I kind of want to just go for Frogman because I like his name. Okay, so this is Dom Mar Fan, Street Buddha from Australia. He's 25. All right. Decisions or submissions are the majority of his wins. He has fought in Eternal. There's that Eternal MMA again. I remember this now. Okay, he did have a lightweight amateur bout. Okay, a couple losses. Oh, he has a loss over Quaylen Salkilled. That makes sense. 2 losses to Quaylen. Or Quillen. Wow. And those are his only 2 losses. Holy shit. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So he's won every other one. So I like this guy. Okay. And then Sang Uk Kim, a.k.a. the Frogman, is 32 years of age. Knockouts, submissions, decision, submissions. It's kind of all relatively the same. Wow, I do like this guy. Okay, he's had a, what is this, a champ? Yep. Yep, he's had a belt. Decent amount of fights under his name. Oh, he lost to Rong Zhu. Wow. Oh, and that was Road to UFC. So he's been in Road to UFC before. But he lost to Rong Zhu. So Rong Zhu got the fucking contract, and he had to leave and then come back and eventually work his way back up into the Road to UFC once again. Okay, so he's really, oh wow, so he's really going to be trying this time because he tried before and didn't make it. Fuck. And he's good at knockouts. This guy, what was he? Decisions or submission. Ah, this is a tough one. Shit. I just zoomed out. I didn't mean to do that. How do I zoom back in? There we go. Man, oh, fuck. This could go either way, dude. Let me take a look at that betting odds. Fuck. I kind of want to go for Frogman. Ah, shit, dude. Let me see again. Yeah, fuck it, man. I'm going Frogman. Two underdogs in a row. Actually, 3. Because I did underdog there. Wow. Okay. 5th fight of the night. Offley versus Yizha. We've seen Offley before. I'm pretty sure I've seen Yizha. Offley 13-4-1, 26-5-0 for Yizha. Yizha is the favorite from China. China versus Australia. Let's go look at the credential once again. I'm going to kind of blast through these. I don't want to hang on to this segment all day. Yeah, okay. So Offley 32. Okay, so see, once they're in the UFC, you don't really got to worry about all this other trash. Just look at their UFC record. So he's had 2 losses. He did win the Ultimate Fighter Championship, but then lost to Santos, lost to Naimov, and then he's coming off a win. Whereas Yizha, how old is this? 29, okay. Wow. So he lost. Okay. So he was in the Road to UFC, got the contract, lost his debut, then had to go back into the Road to UFC, looks like. Won the full tournament, then debuted again. Well, I guess then got essentially, a second. Wow, does that consider a second debut? But anyway, he got back into the UFC, lost again, but then they continued to leave him in, and then got a win. Holy shit. So this guy's going to be fighting right now. If he loses again in the UFC, that's not going to look good. It's not going to look good. Fuck. And who's the favorite here? Wow, Yidza's the favorite. I think I'm going to go for him. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how this plays out. Okay, now this one, Oban Elliott versus Makhachev. I'm not even going to look at their record because I think Oban Elliott is going to take it. I love Oban Elliott. I'm going for the Welsh gangster. Okay? Now, we got Malkoon versus Finney. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but Finney, this guy right here, let's look at his credential because I need to talk about him for a second. He really pissed me off the last time I saw him fight, which I believe was his debut into the UFC. Now, mind you, he's got an undefeated record, 11-0. He's 27, fantastic wrestler. Okay, he's had titles. He's only won. All right, He won Contender Series 3 times in a row. All right, before he could get his contract. That's how boring this motherfucker is. Okay, and then he fought. Which fight night was this? Oh yeah, that's this. Oh wow, it was the Emmett Murphy fucking fight night. Okay, and he took Robert Valentine to decision because he had the motherfucker pressed against the cage the entire time. It was the most boringest fight I've ever seen, and he's now going up against Jacob Malkoon, who's 8-3-0, age 30. Okay, this guy has a loss to Brundage. He's coming off a win to Petrosky. You know, he's been in the UFC since 2020. Has 3 losses. One of them's to Brendan Allen. That makes sense. Brundage, whatever. Has some wins. I don't think he's gonna win against Finney, and I hate to say it because I didn't like Finney's performance the last time I saw him. But I'm unfortunately gonna have to vote for him, and I hope he steps it up this time. I really fucking hope he steps it up this time. Okay, now we got Rouston versus Brundage, which we just talked about Brundage. But let's take a look at the credentials. Rouston, Brundage. I'm going to sneeze again. His nickname is Battle Giraffe. Motherfucker. He's 13-3-0. 31. Loves to submit. He lost his Contender Series fight to Finney, but then had a couple wins in other organizations, came back into the Contender Series, had a win over Brandon Holmes, then had a win over Petrosky, and this is his second fight in the UFC. Now, Brundage is 31, 11-7-1. He's been in the UFC for a bit now, since 2021. Okay, but he lost his debut. I don't understand. Okay, he lost his Contender Series fight, but then it's like they get signed to the UFC and then they're supposed to have another Contender Series fight. Like, why does that even happen? But anyway, couple wins, 3 losses, couple wins, lost to Bo Nickel. Then a no contest, then a win, then a draw, then a loss. So he doesn't have the cleanest record. I'm going for Rouston because of that. I don't know what Brundage is up to, and I don't like the way he does things. So I'm going with Rouston on this one. So then we have Tafa versus Elakana. Now, Tafa has a brother who was in the UFC. He was supposed to fight on one of the Australian cards recently, but something happened and he backed out. And both the Tafa brothers were supposed to be on. They're usually on every single Australian card, but I actually don't think his brother's going to fight in the UFC anymore. But they're usually the underdogs, as far as I know. And if I remember correctly, I don't think they're that great. I don't know. But Junior Tafa, the Juggernaut, 6-4-0, KO boy. Maybe I'm thinking of his brother. Yeah, okay. He's got a loss to Walter Walker, heel hook, one of the 4 heel hooks that Walter Walker does. So he's 2-4 in the UFC. So his record's not looking great. Whereas Elikana, 30 years old, fairly new into the UFC. His debut was a loss to Bogdan. That makes sense. Win over Oban Aslan. Great. Oban Aslan looked great in his last performance. And then Kevin Christian. So I'm going to have to go for Elikana on this one. All right, going for another favorite. Go figure. Am I right? This one, we got Malarkey versus Sal Kild. Okay, we all saw what Sal Kild has been up to lately, especially that head kick. He got fucking Rookie of the Year. The dude's amazing. Minus 1,200 to plus 700. It's hard not to go for Sal Kild. I don't even have to look. All right. Then we've got Tai Tuivasa versus Taliesin Teixeira. Again, not going to have to look. Bam Bam's been out of it for a bit, and I think he's on a 6-fight losing streak, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look at his record. Dude's only 32 as well. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, he's on a 5-fight losing streak, okay? And the last time he took a break, he took a long break. He hasn't fought once in 2025, and he's been getting chunky and fat. But that could be motivation to get back up there. And I'd be happy if he did win. But Taliesin Teixeira is a rising prospect in the heavyweight division. He did lose to Derek Lewis his last fight. But before that, he was undefeated and he was looking good. He was a knockout boy, only knockouts. So we might see Bam Bam get bamboozled this time. Okay? And then we've got Fiziev versus Ruffy. Love both these guys. I don't want to see Ruffy lose anymore. Let's get Ruffy back into the win column, even though he did win last time, right? Who did Ruffy fight last time? I always forget. Ruffy fought BSD last time, right? Yes. Okay. So let's get Ruffy back in the win column. I love Fiziev, but I don't want to see him win. I'm sorry. I want to get Ruffy high up in those lightweight rankings. So let's get a win for Ruffy. Again, we're going for all fucking favorites here, which I hate to do. Now, we already talked about this. Benoît and Hooker. Man, I would like to see Hooker win, but fuck. Should we go for Benoît? I think I'm going to go for Benoît on this one. And you know what? For the main event, fuck it, dude. I'm going for Diego Lopes. I don't give a shit. All right? Volk will probably take it, but why not go for Diego? I wanted him to be the projected winner of 2025. He wasn't, so maybe he'll be the projected winner of 2026. Let's start it off with a bang. Let's let Diego win that title and keep this division fresh. Why not? Okay. So really, fights to look out for. Pretty much every fight on the main card, except for Tai Tuivasa versus Teixeira. There might be a crazy knockout there. On the undercard, the only one I really want to point out that you should watch is Makhachev versus Elliott. Elliott's one of my favorite prospects. I don't know how... I bet these road to UFC fights in the beginning, they're probably all going to be bangers. I bet every single one of them are going to be fucking awesome. All right, because they're all hungry to get into the UFC. I bet you the fucking right off the bat, it's going to be like knockout and knockout and knockout and knockout. I might not, but lately we've been seeing the early prelims just fucking killing it, dude. Anyway, that's it for this episode of the Dynamite Gizmo podcast. Remember, if you want this fight prediction sheet for yourself, link is in the description or in my bio to get it. It's completely free. If you liked this episode, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Subscribe is the most important. But anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next week for the next episode. And bye!